Missed out on your chance to storm Area 51? Really wanted to get inside a UFO? Well, this week we're going to take a look at sound designing the interior of an alien spacecraft. So there's all different types of artist renderings of what we believe UFOs to look like. And that's everything from cute little flying saucers like you'd see in the Jetsons to things that invade and attack Earth like in Independence Day. So while copyright prevents me from showing you any of those, we're going to head more for that Independence Day type sound. So the first thing that we need to do is come up with some sort of base to build on. And I was thinking about it, and I really think that a brass instrument is going to work really well here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up Contact Player and open up our session horns. Alright, so I've got session horns loaded up here, and unfortunately, I was really hoping that they had a tuba in here, but they don't. Because I want to try and get as low of a brass note as possible, which is going to be our trombone. So I'm going to go ahead and record just a long sustained note. Alright, so I've got our long sustained note here, and it looks like it's just over 24 seconds, which is probably not something you're going to get in the real world. Thank you, virtual instruments. So now we're going to play around with this a little bit. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to drop the pitch on it. But before we do that, I'm going to bounce this down to an actual wave file. Alright, so now that we've got our MIDI track bounced down, you can hear it here. Just a single lowest note that I could get the instrument to play. And we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into an infinite loop here real quick. Alright, so now that we've made an infinite loop out of that, we're going to mess with it a little bit. And I'm going to start by dropping the pitch of it. Alright, and with our pitch window open, I'm going to go ahead and play it. And I'm actually just going to take it as far down as I possibly can. And oddly enough, that sounds like a dirt bike. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do to try and drive it into that atmospheric noise is we're going to add a reverb on here. And I'm going to push as much reverb as I can get out of this as well. And so for this, I'm going to choose the large church setting on our deverb here. And now you can start to hear how it kind of has that alien-esque kind of technological sound to it. Alright, and so lastly, to really drive home that sci-fi feel, we're going to throw a phaser on here. But we're not going to do it a whole lot. We just want it to be real subtle, but I do want it to be 100% in the mix. And we're going to play around with the rate and depth a little bit here. So I think that sounds pretty good as far as like the interior goes to really start with. Has a nice sci-fi feel to it, dark, eerie. Like I said, we were going to try and go for that Independence Day kind of vibe. And I think we hit more along the sci-fi channel, but I'm still not upset with it. So now we're going to take a look at adding like maybe a control panel that has some beeping that might not technically be of this world. Just to kind of bring it home with. Alright, so for our computer console, our ship console, whatever you want to call it, we're going to go back to one of our virtual instruments. And this time I'm going to go with Massive X. And once we've got Massive X open, I can tell you right off the bat, it's got a steep learning curve. I mean, there's a ton of different things that you can come in here and play around with. By default, right out of the bat, it's just a sine wave generator. And unless you know what you're doing, which I'm not super familiar with Massive, there's a lot of presets in here though. So we're actually going to go down to one that I found the other day under sound effects, and it's our sentient mainframe, which is perfect for what we need. And I was playing around with it, and the note that I found to play to really get what we're looking for is actually the highest note that we can play. There's a lot of lower notes in there, though, that I really don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and record this, and then we're going to throw an EQ on it and do a really extreme high pass filter on it. All right, so now that we've got that recorded, what I mean when I say that we're going to put an extreme high pass filter in here, I'm actually going to go to our air kill EQ. And what that'll let us do, instead of pulling the volumes down of certain frequencies, this just completely cuts it off. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get rid of our lows and our mids. And we're going to play around with settings till we find just where we want with the highs. And now that we've got that done, I'm going to go ahead and bounce this down to an actual waveform. And now that we've got that bounced down to a waveform, I want to give it some space. So we're going to go ahead and put another reverb on here. So for this, I'm going to use a large hall reverb. And it kind of helps define how big the ship is. And so now that we've got both of these tracks finished, we're going to go ahead and listen to them together. And so you can hear with just 2 layers, we're actually in a really good spot for a spaceship interior design. So that's where we're going to end things for today. Obviously, there's a lot more that you can do with this depending on the project that you're working on. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys a ground floor where you can build up from here. As always, if there's anything you'd like to see in my videos, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Or you can get a hold of me on any one of these social media channels. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as I do these videos every single week. Until next time.